What's up, everyone? Welcome to Investing with Adam. I'm your host, Adam, and today we are covering the 7 steps to buying your home or the home buying process. Buying a house can be extremely rewarding, but it also has a lot of challenges, a lot of things going on with it that you really need to be aware of before getting started on the path that can make it a lot more enjoyable and a lot more rewarding and just overall fun when it finally comes time to getting those keys. The approach that I like to follow in situations like this is to make sure that you're as informed as humanly possible before making any decisions, because after all, buying a house is a massive decision to make. So in the next few minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it's going to take, I'm going to walk you through the 7-step process to buying a home. And also, if you're interested, I've included a link below the video that you can go to download your own copy of this guide in PDF with a little more detail in it, and you can actually read through it, get into more detail, learn a bit more about it, and then as always, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime, and I'll help you get on the right path. Now, let's get started on going through the process. Step 1 is deciding on what you want. Now, the best thing you can do is figure out exactly where you want to be first, because the only thing you cannot change about a house, or at least the only thing, anything can be changed with money if you really want to spend the money, but the only thing you really can't change when it comes to buying your house is the location. The land that house is sitting on is something you cannot change after you buy it. So if you fall in love with the decor of a certain house and you look at it, it's like, the furniture's perfect, the layout's perfect, it's gorgeous. But then you soon realize, just after those keys are in your hand and you walk out the door to head to work for the first time, that, oh no, this house is actually 45 minutes from my work. This is going to be extremely uncomfortable because I'm now going to be on the road an hour and a half every single day going to work, and I work 6 days a week. The next step is deciding on your must-haves, and those are things like 3 bedrooms on 1 floor because you want to have your kids on the same floor as you, or getting a house that has a master ensuite so that you're not sharing that bathroom with anyone that comes through your door. The importance of this is to figure out really what you need, and then this also carries on into the next point, which is deciding on what type of home. So if you need 3 bedrooms above grade, well, you're probably not going to go with something like a 4-level split, as most of them only have 2 bedrooms on 1 floor and then the other one's in the partially below ground basement. So you might be looking then for a 2-story or a bi-level or certain bi-levels or a bungalow, because all those you're more than likely to get 3 bedrooms on 1 floor as long as they're around the 1,000 square foot mark. Now, on to step number 2, which is getting certified pre-approved. Wait a minute, what do you mean certified pre-approved? What I'm getting at with when I say certified pre-approved is there's a lot of options out there you see now, apps and things that say, hey, you can get approved in 60 seconds on your way to the refrigerator getting a midnight snack. And then you get this number that comes in that says you're qualified for $500,000. And you take that out and you go shopping and buy a gorgeous 2-story in the suburbs, beautiful home, and you write an offer up, $500,000, and then you go to get that mortgage approved and they actually come back and say, oh, wait a minute, actually, based on what you've given us now, you're really only qualified at $350,000. Sorry. So what I like to do is I like to suggest that everyone go to see a mortgage broker or some sort of financial institution in person and go and talk to them about exactly what you need to do to get the most reliable pre-approval that you can get. And usually that means you need to provide income statements, debt statements, all these other things. And by going to a bank or a mortgage broker, they can let you know, okay, you might be approved at 300 right now, but if you can do these a couple little tweaks and little adjustments, pay this off, adjust that, they might be able to get you approved for a little bit more or give you different options as to what you might need to do or what you might want for your mortgage approval. The last thing I want to see my clients go through and see you guys go through is have you get to that point where you've fallen in love with your dream home and you put the offer in only to get it declined by the bank and find out you can actually afford nowhere near what you were shopping for because you only really gave them small little increments of data that they really couldn't give you a quality number with to begin with. So I'd rather see you go out, give everything needed up front, and it makes the closing easier, it makes the pulling of conditions easier, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable and fun for your entire home buying experience. Step number 3, searching for your home. Now here's the fun part. You sit down with your agent, You talk over all your little wants, needs, desires, everything that you're thinking about for a house, and the two of you discuss exactly what type of house you're looking for, where you want to be, and then you go start setting up searches and things start coming to you on a regular basis, and you start planning out what homes you want to go see. And now the best thing to do is to get that criteria narrowed down for what you want in a home as tight as possible. And that helps you avoid something I like to call Netflix syndrome, which is analysis paralysis, basically, where you go out and you don't even know what kind of decision to make because there's 800 homes to look at. So, well, what if I like this house, but maybe the other house has more? That's where really being focused on exactly what means most to you, especially location-wise, really helps. Because you might originally have thought that you want a 2-story home or you want this or that, but then it turns out the neighborhood that's close to where you want to live, you only actually have maybe 15 options to choose from. And you start really focusing and learning about that neighborhood, and then as soon as one pops up, you know exactly what you want, you go and jump on it, and you now have the home that you've always wanted for a price you're okay with, and you're in the neighborhood that's going to work best for you and your family either now or in the future. Now, if you do download my guide, it also has this nice list of things to consider when shopping for your home. And it goes over things such as analyzing neighborhoods more in detail, or it has things in there such as looking for the crime rate. So you can go on a site like the Edmonton Police website that'll actually show you what the crime rates are like in the neighborhoods, which be cautious because you can really go down a rabbit hole by looking at that thing. But these things are all in there, and there's a lot more information involved in this, and it goes into many, many more details as to more things to be aware of when you're shopping for a home, more than just the paint color, more than just the street that it's on, and how to evaluate a neighborhood better so you know more about it before you find out after it's too late. Step number 4, making your offer. At this point, we've found the house you're looking for, and you're ready to make an offer. And now what happens? So what that means is we draw up what's called a residential purchase contract. What that is it's a 6-page document that outlines all the specific details about buying a home. And we'll probably post another video as well that goes through these contracts in greater detail to give you more information. Or again, if you want to have any questions, feel free to reach out. But the basics of an offer are the price, the address, the seller and the buyer, what's included with the home like appliances and dishwasher and all these other extra things, light fixtures, curtains, all that kind of stuff, and the things you don't want left behind. So if you're buying an acreage or you're buying a house that has a lot of property and there's a bunch of rental materials left outside or things like that, you can put in there that you do not want these left behind when you take possession. And it goes through all the other details such as conditions like financing and inspection, the deposits, who's going to hold the money, who's going to facilitate the documents, all that kind of stuff. The biggest point for you to note though are the purchase price, the inclusions, the things that come with the home, and the possession dates. Now, keep in mind with this contract that you can change anything you want to suit your needs. And this can go back and forth many, many, many times. Something else important to note is when you submit the offer to purchase, generally either that same day or within the next few business days, you'll be submitting a deposit in trust to the seller's agent, which is basically a sign of good faith of your sincere desire to purchase their home. Step 5, negotiations and counteroffers. So we've submitted your offer, it's gone to the seller's side, and now what? Well, now the sellers then decide on what they want to either counter us with or accept the offer or flat out reject it and say, we don't even want to deal with this. Rejection is a very rare situation to have happen, but it does happen from time to time. Most likely you're going to get some sort of counter back either on the purchase price or the possession date or the conditions or deposit, any number of these things, because as you were able to adjust the contract to suit your needs, the seller can then choose to adjust it to their needs as well. So if they do decide to counter us, we go over the offer again, see what they wanted to counter, see what they wanted changed, and then we work back and forth between the two sides trying to figure out how to get this together to get an accepted offer to both parties. And something very valuable to keep in mind is until we have a signed acceptance, which is both sides have a copy of the contract with all the initials, all the signatures, all the dates, everything's completely finished and written, and each side has their own true copy, we are not accepted, and anyone can come in at any point and submit another offer and either kick us out completely or put us into multiple offers, which may end up making you have to pay a lot more than you wanted for that home. While you're negotiating, Try and get it done as quickly as possible so that you have no concerns, no issues about anyone else coming in to take that home away from you. And then once we have a signed accepted offer, the entire thing is then in your hands as the buyer, and we work towards the next step. Step number 6, condition removal and inspection. In this step, we go through the conditions you put into the contract, which are usually subject to financing and inspection. And I always suggest that you go through the financing first to make sure that you have all the financing in order and you get a solid approval from your bank. That way, you're not wasting the money on an inspection, which can cost you over $500, only to find out that your financing does not actually work out. Once we get past the financing condition, then we go on to the inspection. And now an inspection can typically last anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, depending on the size of the house and where the house is located. And they go through all of the details of the home, the plumbing, the electrical, they check things over, everything surface related. They can't go into walls, they can't cut holes in anything, but they can go through and give you a overall snapshot at that point in time of what that home's condition is. And they can also refer you to any other specialists if they see anything they're concerned about to get you more information and make you feel comfortable about buying that home. After the inspection is done, your inspector will typically send you a written report of the inspection for you to go over and read through. And then if there is anything that you'd like changed, or if you want something done, such as they say the furnace is having some issues or it looks like it's really old and it may need to be replaced soon, you can potentially use that to try and negotiate the price down even further with the seller. Something to keep in mind though when you're going to renegotiate the price is try not to add in things such as blown out light bulbs or loose hinges or small insignificant things that can really clutter up the counter. Stick to things that really mean something to you, such as furnace issues, hot water tank is way older than you thought, shingles are actually in bad shape, some issues with the attic, or something that is substantial. Those are all things that you can add in to renegotiate, but try to stick to valuable items only and try to steer clear of any super minor things that can be fixed for a few bucks or a screwdriver. Another point to note here is this is where it's important to start looking for and deciding on whatever lawyer you decide you want to use for your transaction. Myself or your agent can provide you with a list of people to use, or you can decide to go with whoever you want to use. The most important thing to do is figure out who you're comfortable with and don't shop strictly on price, shop on performance. The lawyer is responsible for facilitating the transfer of title, the mortgages, and they're kind of there to help escort you the rest of the way to the finish line. So it's important to find somebody that you like, somebody that you know you can trust and you're comfortable with, that can get you there on time and on budget. And finally, step number 7, possession day, preparing to move. In this guide, you'll also find a nice little tip sheet for, here it is, moving checklists, hiring for a pro packing job, little things like that that can make planning for possession day a whole lot easier. But the biggest thing to remember here is possession day should be ideally set for around 12 noon. What I do highly suggest though is to not get too stuck on that number of 12 noon and do not book any major things, internet hookups or movers to show up right at 12 noon. Plan for that maybe the day following possession day. Make possession day all about getting the keys, walking through the house for the first time, maybe making a plan for things, and then have the follow-on day or maybe later that evening be where you actually take over that home. Because sometimes what tends to happen is things get pushed back, things get a little bogged down, there's some last minute things to go over, and possession day doesn't always go exactly as planned. So 12 noon is the ideal point, but don't shoot to be inside of the home and be able to do things functioning until at least late afternoon, early evening. And that is a wrap for us on the 7-step process of buying a home. Something to keep in mind is buying a house is likely going to be one of the largest investments you'll make in your life and take up the largest debt in your wallet. So it's very important to take the time up front to decide what you're looking for, sit down and talk with the right professionals right from the beginning, a realtor, a mortgage broker, to get you on the right page. Build your team so that that whole process is the most enjoyable and fulfilling experience that it can be, and you know that you have the home that you want for many, many years to come. Thanks again for watching the video. Hope you gained a lot from it. And if you know of anyone that's thinking about buying soon, Feel free to share this video with them so that they can gain some better insights and have a more enjoyable home buying experience. And as I always mention, I'm here for you if you need anything else, and you'll find lots of resources attached to this video, the buyer's guide, the contracts you have to deal with the whole point of buying a home or the whole part of buying a home, and basically anything you're gonna need to get started on the process of buying a house. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and smash the like button if you liked what you saw here today. Hope you have a great day, and we will catch you on the next one.